There, folks, and welcome to Fae Earth, a fun indie TTRPG set in an alternate 19th century Earth where all the creatures from folklore and fairy tale are real, have always been real, and live alongside humanity. Our game is set in the year 1872 in France. We are currently very far north in France in the city of Cambrai, which is about 30-40 kilometers south of the Belgian border. Our heroes have been up this way because one of the party players, Mina, her brother, has been found in a military hospital here. He was a veteran of the recent Franco Prussian War, a war in which the nations of France and Prussia allied themselves and attacked the Fey nation of Arcadia, nestled between the two of them, thinking the country vulnerable because their king had died after centuries of being in power. It was a short but bloody war with casualties on both sides. The first time the Fae had ever suffered any significant casualties in any conflict against humans. This thanks to modern rifling technology and modern artillery. But eventually, the Fae, using unknown magics according to some, and according to others, claims of dragons on the field, unleashed a devastating attack, wiping out thousands of soldiers. It is a while on from that now, about 9 months since that conflict, with our players traveling around this France that is recovering from this war. So, with that, I'm going to ask one of our players to give us a recap of our last session.
What the fuck did we do? 2 weeks seems so long ago.
Yeah, I started
I can-
writing things down just before we started. So
Who wants to
I
do
can
it?
try.
Polina, do you want
sure,
to
Give
try?
it a
Cool.
yeah. So we went to the artificer and we got some magical items. Then we took a train to the place where Mina's brother is in hospital. Which name I don't remember. The place is a name of the place because I have terrible memory for
Cambrai.
names. Yes,
Cambrai.
there. We went there, and then we accidentally started investigating murder mystery of a man who was killed in a cell a day before being hanged. And my character, Justine, discovered a mild obsession with true crime. So she started leading the investigation. We spoke to the graveyard keeper, and we found out that the body didn't come in, so he wasn't buried. That man who died. Then we went to Mina's favorite dive bar, but we didn't really get much information apart from
Hey, I
the
was
name.
there once.
Mm, once, but hey,
It was quite a memorable visit.
absolutely, they'll remember you there for a while now.
Fair.
But we got the name of the friend, or like a drink mate of the man who got killed, and the place where they work, and I think that's where we stopped.
Yes, so that's 1d8 inspiration die that you can use for any ability check throughout the game, Justine. Do not forget that you have it. Okay? So,
We're still also waiting on notes from the police station where Gwen had us pretend to be investigative journalists.
yes, that's true.
So good.
I can't
Yeah.
remember. Did you just vaguely say that you were investigative journalist, or did you actually give the name of your publication?
We did not
give
give
the
the
name
name
of the publication.
We said that we
Basically,
were.
yes.
We said that we were a paper that specialized in kind of weird.
I mean,
stuff.
Justine has the name and everything. Like, she believes in all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna let you do all of
You
that.
take the lead there, like you
With
take
my,
the
like-
lead. Justine
my,
was
like,
just
one
lost
charisma.
some in the last session.
Love
was
it.
amazing,
Love
like,
it.
absolutely loving it.
I
Like,
just want
you
to
know,
sit there and watch. It's
true
amazing.
crime queen, loving it.
So, the party, we'll say, jumps in a cab, okay? It's going to be like 3 copper, okay? To go to the factories where you were told Jules Aymon, who apparently had been a friend of this convicted murderer, Jacques Dutoit, and hasn't actually been seen in a few days in the dive bar that he likes to frequent. So you're going to the factory where he works, okay, to see if you can find him. Okay. It's like about like it's a little over a 10-minute drive, okay, to get there, okay, and it's a fairly large factory. Now it's getting later in the afternoon, so the factory is still open and active. I think at this stage it's after 4 in the afternoon, so this factory will probably still be running until maybe 7 or 8 in the evening. That's when most of these factories shut down. You know, we are in the early stages of unions, so we do not have the 8-hour working week just yet, or the 5-day working week just yet, okay, or laws against child labor. So basically, 19th century France is like 21st century United States. Oh, I'm just basically okay. But yeah, so
It's horrible because it's kind of true.
yeah.
But anyway,
So you get in there, okay. You alight from the cab and you go up, and it's a busy factory. Lots of people working away. It looks to be some sort of you think a textiles mill of some sort. So you've got a lot of women who are on these large automated looms, but then you do have male laborers who are coming in like with the flax that they need, and also feeding coal into engines which are driving the pistons which drive the looms. So it's not as messy. Sorry, it's not as noisy as say something like say a brass mills might be, and it's not as hot.
Yeah, okay.
And there was a brass mills in Sheffield that you are aware of. So, but it's still quite a busy factory, you know.
Quick question: do they have like a kind of a shift thing going on, or some people maybe taking
No,
like
everybody's just
5-minute breaks
No,
or something, or they're just keep going? Like,
everybody's just gone. They're in the middle of their work shift. So.
I'm wondering if we should go to, I can't say HR, but like, do you know, maybe we should go to the top and say like,
You could try and see
is
if
this guy employed here, and is he
yeah, I
happy?
was going to ask if who should we say that we are? Do you want to follow on with this investigative journalist?
Yeah, I think in
Why
case
not?
the police
Red,
come
keep
asking,
keep it consistent. If word gets around that we are asking questions, then we
And
should be
it
consistent.
is a small town, so probably word will get around. So it would be
Yeah,
weird if they
we
say
should
like,
keep it
oh, there was
simple.
somebody else asking
Mhm.
me, you know. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so no pretending to be some sort of a jilted fiance or such.
so.
he has
You
a
don't.
wife, Sylvia.
You don't. You don't
Does
see
he?
at a glance.
Brent, we don't know.
Hmm.
At a glance, you do
Collect?
not.
No. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're going for the friend. Apologies. Sorry, carry on.
At a glance, you do not see anyone standing out looking like a supervisor, but you do see like there's a definitive like gender demarcation in that you have all women working on the looms, and then a smaller number of men who are like bringing in like things, as I said, like big bundles of flax and the likes, or working at the pistons and stuff like that. You know, so you know you can guess this Amont chap probably wasn't a loom operator.
Sure.
Okay. I think we should find the oldest person who might know the most number of people, and the person who looks the least busy, so they're inclined to talk to us.
Everyone looks busy.
Damn it.
This is a 19th century factory.
And there's nobody who looks like they're supervising. So
Well, someone can give me an awareness roll if they want, but there's nobody immediately standing out looking like a supervisor.
all right, so I'm looking for any sort of
Yeah.
room off to the side or
You do
something
spot
like
looks
that.
like an office
Or on
type.
top.
Yeah, no, there does appear to be like there is your classic stairs going into looks like an office type space that overlooks the main factory floor.
Okay, I only rolled an 11, but if we see the office, I'd like
Well,
to.
that's obvious. You don't need to roll for that.
Okay, let
That's
you
where
see
we
into
go.
awareness roll as well.
Yeah. So somebody who's like got good awareness.
-1. It will not help.
Yeah, but maybe you'll roll more than a 10.
I
So,
never do. I never do.
So are you heading up the stairs towards the office? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you head up the stairs towards the office, and you see there's two men inside, and they're slightly better dressed than the guys downstairs. They're clearly like some sort of supervisor or managerial type positions. And they're just like one of them is kind of standing over the other, and they're pointing at ledgers and stuff at the desk. So
Who wants to do the talking?
they
Are you
haven't
seeing
noticed.
what
You can clearly see out. There's glass, so they could easily see out. But they're both in conversation, and they haven't noticed you're all standing outside.
Is the door? Can we try? Just to open the door.
Can I try to see what they're talking about? Maybe if they're in a conversation, just to make sure it's.
Yeah.
Okay, give me an awareness roll.
And you lip read.
8.
No.
There are two men in an office.
In a room.
Yeah.
Let's knock and go for
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to knock on
Okay.
the door.
Yustine's just going to knock on the door.
Okay, you knock on the door, and the two men look up, and they look a bit confused. And the slightly younger of the two men. Now, when I say slightly younger, like one looks to be in his like late 30s and the other in his mid 40s, so there's not like a massive age difference between them. The slightly younger of the two men comes up and he opens the door and he's like, he looks at the floor and says, we're not looking for any loom operators, ladies. I'm sorry, I don't know why you're.
Oh, no, gentlemen. Yustine's just going to straighten up and just go like, my name is Marie David. I'm an investigative journalist from a newspaper, The Mord. We specialize in interesting stories, crimes, and all sorts of peculiar events. So,
well, there's no crimes or mysterious events here. We're a respectable business, mademoiselle.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that. However, I would like to know if what's the name of the guy? Jules
Aymon.
Jules Aymon.
Jules Aymon.
If a gentleman called Jules Aymon works here by any chance.
Well, technically he works here, and by technically I mean we haven't seen him in about 2 or 3 days, so I haven't been able to fire him yet for not coming to work.
Interesting. Doesn't happen often.
No. People like to keep their jobs. They know if they don't turn up to work, they lose their jobs.
So maybe something happened to him.
Or maybe he's passed out unconscious in a pool of his own piss.
Oh, so he has problems with alcohol.
We don't exactly have the pick of the finest citizens of Cambrai to work here.
Oh, no judgment. Absolutely not. It's just we have information that he was close to someone whose murder we're investigating.
There was a strange incident of a man who was found dead in his cell mysteriously the day he was to be executed. A man by the name of Jacques Dutoit. I don't know.
I think I remember reading about that in the newspaper. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, he is known to be friends with this man, Jules Aymon, and we went through the bar where they both met, and he has also not been seen at the bar either. So it is just strange. And since we are exploring various avenues of information, we are just trying to, tick all of the boxes, as they say.
Of course, I'm very sorry, mademoiselle, but as I just said to your friend here, I have not seen him in 2 or 3 days. I cannot remember which.
As an employer, do you happen to know where he lives?
I probably have it written down somewhere.
Would you
and he's
mind
kind-
having a look?
Give me a charm roll. Because you can tell he's getting
I
very
give him a
bored.
charm roll with a silver or something.
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
you can tell he's clearly like
Oh,
wants to
10.
get back.
10. How much is this info worth?
Do you want to slip
Shall I
him
slip him a gold?
a gold is a lot. A gold
A
is
gold
like
is a lot.
gold is like a lot. Like that's like close to that's probably more than he pays the loom operators in it for a week. You know.
I know,
So,
I know.
Nah,
and
don't
I
give
don't
him gold,
really,
that's a
I don't
lot.
want to give
I'll
him
give him
gold,
a
but a
lot.
silver seems to be a bit
The
cheap. Like, I
silver's
don't
like I mean, as I said, like a silver would be approximately the equivalent of
Right,
a
so
quarter to a
I-
fifth of a week's wages for a factory worker. So
It's
I,
it's a fair
I
bit of
flashed
money,
the
silver.
sir.
Okay, so you flash the silver as you say that to him, and he sees it, he kind of looks, and he subtly takes it while moving slightly so that his back is blocking the guy inside the offices. If you just give me one moment, mademoiselle, I'll be sure
Oh,
to look out
merci,
for you.
that is
Thank
so
you
good
so
of you. Thank
much.
you so much.
And
You're very kind.
pocketing the coin, he goes in, and he closes the door, and the other guy's talking to him, and is like gesturing, and is like, you have no idea what they're saying, but there's lots of gesturing, you know. Like so much you suspect these men could be Italian, but and then he
Very
goes
much.
to like a cabinet, a filing cabinet type thing behind where the guy was seated, and he's like scrambling around for about a minute or two, and then he pulls out a scrap of paper, and he comes out and he shows you the scrap of paper, and he's like, I should probably technically keep this. Does one of you? I assume as journalists you have pencils and notebooks to write this down.
Yeah, I have the notebook.
Of course,
Yeah,
of
so
course.
Justine is already there, ready. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you write.
You've
down the
already,
address.
Nettie, you take the notes. Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
miss.
says, I'm sorry I could not help you more, mademoiselles. If you do manage to find him, you can tell him that he's fired.
Okay,
We will do that. Thank you so
pass the
much.
message on, but thank you for your help.
D'accord, au revoir, bonjour. And he's like, it's very much you've
Get the
took
fuck
up
out.
a lot of my
Get the
time.
fuck out.
Get
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
my business, you know. But trying
That's
to be
fine.
relatively polite because it's like 4 young women who are well spoken, so you know. And one of them gave him some silver.
And give him
so,
silver.
Yeah.
So what was the address?
The address is NPC House, NPC Street, fictional city in made up world.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
We give this address
Oh,
to
that's
the
just
cab
around the
driver.
corner from
Did
here.
did you get all of that, Christina?
Yep.
Awesome. We're doing so well right now. This is amazing.
Filling it.
So, having this, address, you now can, if you want, go back down and show the piece of
Oh, yeah,
paper
yeah, yeah.
to like a cab driver and get to that area.
Let's
That's
do
exactly
that.
what we do.
Let's do that.
Amazing.
Okay, so you go back outside. It takes you a couple of minutes to flag down a cab driver because you're in a slightly more industrial part of the city, so you have to walk
Sure.
a little bit out from that. But like that's not a big deal. Okay, so you're walking for like less than 10 minutes before you get into a slightly nicer area where there would be cabs going by. You flag one down and you show them the address. Oh, NPC Street. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
a
we
bit
need
of
to
a,
go to NPC Street.
Like, are you sure,
You know
mademoiselle?
it?
This is not the nicest part of the city.
Oh, yeah, we are aware. That's yeah. But thank you for your concern.
Okay, d'accord, okay, d'accord. And he gets the horses going, and it's about it's a little over 20 minutes from
Yeah,
from-
these NPC streets are just the worst in
Yeah,
every city.
so-
Like, you know, it's
Imagine.
horrible. Yeah.
I mean, traffic, am I right?
Oh,
So
You know,
so
do.
anyway, you finally get into it looks to be so it's an area it looks to be numerous large-ish houses that are clearly tenements, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all like 3-story, some even 4-story houses, and you reckon you're probably looking at, 1 to 2 rooms per family with 2 or 3 families on a floor kind of situation, you know. So So you go looking around, and you do eventually find the actual house that you were told Iman
NPC
lives
house, I
on.
guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like this 3-story tenement, and you see there's an old woman sitting on some steps outside the front of it. She looks like she's about 100. This is a woman that life has not been kind to, and she's just smoking on a pipe. And as you get a bit closer to her, you can smell probably gin. Okay, and she looks up at you, bleary-eyed. What's four pretty things like you doing in this shithole?
Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour, madame. We're just looking for someone. Would you look like someone who knows everyone in this area. Maybe you'd be able to help.
I do know everybody in this area.
Have you seen Jules Iman by any chance?
Actually, no. I haven't seen him in a few days.
For 2 or 3 days?
Something like that, yeah.
Interesting. And do you remember by any chance what was he doing last time you saw him? When was that? Was there anything strange about him? Was there
Last time I
anything?
saw him, I bumped into him. I was heading to bed. He was coming back from the pub. He was pretty drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing special.
Is there a chance that he could be home? Like, did you see him go and perhaps he did not come back? Or could he still be at home?
Well, if I haven't seen, usually in this place, if you haven't seen somebody in 2 to 3 days, it's because they're dead.
Right.
And if he was dead in his flat, we'd know from the smell.
Oh, of course, yeah. The smell is
And
yes.
I know this place stinks, but you get used to that kind of stink.
No, it's the smell of the dead
Yeah,
is something. It's something else.
You
It's something
know.
else.
You know. Don't pretty girl like you shouldn't know that smell.
Well, in another life, yeah. Anyway,
Life has been hard, especially on pretty young women. Those bastard men.
So is the men, isn't it?
Yep.
It is always the men, isn't it?
is there not? It's not. It's the men who are in power. Really.
Well, if you want, his is the shithole on the top floor on the left of the landing.
Thank you very
Do
much.
you
I'm
happen to
gonna-
know?
No one's
Do
gonna
you
care.
happen to know he was friends with a certain Jacques Dutoit?
He
Could
murdered
have been.
He murdered a man.
Well, he wouldn't have been the first to murder a man.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But you don't know that man at all. At all? No, never heard of him.
Sorry, no.
All right. Well, we have a quick look into his. Thank you so much. That is very helpful. And can I give her a silver as well?
Yeah, she's very
Merci,
surprised
merci
and
bien,
happy
madame.
to
Merci
get
bien, madame. Thank you so
very
much.
surprised and happy to get it. Shocked, in fact, and she kind of like bites it. She's like, doesn't even think it's real. So, do you want to go upstairs?
We sure do.
Okay, yeah, it's like this is a really horrible building. Like you go through the door and it's a split hallway with doors to the right and left. There's a stairway that leads up. It's a very simple stairway, not spiral, like comes up at 90-degree angles onto separate landings. Like you're looking at it and you're like, do we want to risk our lives going up these steps because the wood is so rotten that it might actually collapse under us? Like
We'll be grand.
Look at this one. Look at this one. All right, I follow Justine.
The woman is
Justine goes.
Off, she's off.
She's like,
all it took was a murder.
she is right. If he was dead, we would know. You would smell it.
Yeah, maybe we find something in his place. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he squirreled something away.
yeah, I can smell someone cooking soup. So
Ugh.
yeah, there is
it's
like
cabbage soup as well.
yeah.
It is. It's Smells like rubbish soup, alright. Like literal rubbish soup.
So what you're mostly smelling is body odor, urine, um, and the
Food,
smell of
stale
kind of
air.
like rotten food, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, you go up the stairs up to the top, and then there's two doors here, and she'd said I think it was the one on the left, what she said, but you're like
I just kind of Mina discreetly takes out a handkerchief and just goes.
You get used to it. Don't worry.
Can I have a listen
And
at
a
the
little
door?
bit of cologne water. People
yes,
from
Quinn, of
Germany
course.
would
Give
know
me
that.
so you go up to the door of what you think is the flat for Amand. Give me an awareness roll.
Okay, that was a 7 plus 1 is a grand total of 8.
You don't hear anything.
Yay!
Rolling well as always.
Can I roll as well?
Yes, you can.
Doors!
You're killing it, Gwen.
There is doors!
17.
Nice.
You're not sure. You think you hear the faint sounds of squeaking.
Lovely.
What kind of
Well,
squeaking?
Mice squeaking, or wood squeaking, or shoe squeaking.
Sounds more.
Or
animal.
bed squeaking.
No, not a bed squeaking.
What are we talking about here?
Rats!
Okay.
Fucking rats and so.
I don't know which is worse to walk in upon, so we'll take rats.
Okay,
So,
if it's
you-
an animal squeaking, then it probably means that like no one has been there for a while because
So yeah, do you want to
you know.
try and?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, Justine's just going to knock gently on the door.
There's no response.
Mina's just gonna elbow the door open like boom.
That works too.
Okay. Yeah, you knock the door with your elbow, Mina, and the door just swings open. It was not locked.
All right.
Oh,
Can I cast arcane light and send it in? Is it dark?
It's dim but not dark. There is a
Okay.
pair of like tattered curtains over the window. They're quite rotted and they're moth-eaten with lots of holes. They're half closed. You're in a room that's probably like maybe 4 by 5 meters. With there's a doorway leading off into another small room by the looks of it. On the floor, in the room you see there's a bed. It looks pretty awful. Okay, there is a small table and there is 2 chairs, one of which looks kind of broken. There is some scattered food on the ground, and when you kick the door or elbow the door open, rats which were eating this food scurry. And
right.
run
Mina
off to
jumps back and goes.
So yeah,
It's okay, Mina. I don't think they'll bite. Hopefully.
I
If
know.
that's the
I
first thing
absolutely
that's in
hate rats.
here, if that's the first thing that's in here, then I'll be happy.
Items have been thrown around and stuff. It looks like somebody's been in here and tossed a room looking for stuff.
Interesting.
Well, it's a tenement, so people could just be. He hasn't been here for a few days. They might just be trying to get
Could have
stuff.
just ransacked
And
it.
the door
Fair enough.
wasn't open or wasn't locked. I mean, so
Okay.
Let's investigate.
Yes.
Investigate.
Let's look around.
So, do we see anything particularly out of the ordinary?
no.
Shouldn't be in a tenement. Weird. Wonderful. No.
Well, you're gonna have to give me awareness rolls to see how well you see. So how this works is everybody can give me
Don't forget
individual
that-
rolls, or
Don't forget that
people can
inspiration
assist.
die. By the way.
Ooh. I rolled a 14 plus 1.
Right, I'll
Yeah,
investigate as well.
15.
I'm gonna.
Unfortunately,
underneath them.
is are missing Amanada because she has pretty good awareness.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is there? I'm gonna look underneath the.
12.
Well, I looked 18, so rolled 18, so
Okay.
Oh yeah, Mina's literally picking up
Justine
things with
is just
her 2
involved.
fingers, like,
Okay. I got a 7, but Sylvia's looking under the. She's gonna like lift the mattress, see what because generally people hide shit under there.
Alright,
You
so,
may be touching that.
there's nothing under the mattress. Okay.
Okay.
I'll say with that 18 roll, Justine, I'm going to say that what you do realize is that if there was anything valuable in this room, you're guessing
It's
it's
gone.
probably gone.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, and the fact that
Mhm.
this is a very, very poor part of the city, and this man has been absent for several days, and the front door was left unlocked. And there's a
Yeah,
fairly
yeah.
sturdy lock on the door, a surprisingly sturdy lock on the door, actually. So
Does it look like it was just unlocked,
it
or
looks
it
like
was
it was.
broken into?
No, it looks like, I'm going to say with that 18 roll, it looks like the door just was unlocked.
Yeah. See,
Huh.
the thing
That's
is,
weird.
see, the thing is, we're not looking for anything valuable.
No.
No.
Does it
Oh, no,
actually?
I realize that. But based on your roll, with that 18, I'm going to say
Yeah.
the thing that's really weird you're noticing is that, no, it wasn't like the door was locked and looks like it was jimmied or picked. It genuinely looks like this door was just left unlocked, which
Does
is
it look?
very strange.
Does it
Can we-
look
can we-
like?
Mhm.
So does it look like somebody was searching, or does it look like there has been a kind of shuffle or some
No, it
fight?
looks like it. No, it looks like the room's being trashed, like people looking for valuables.
Okay,
You don't
okay.
know, like over the like. There's scuffs of footprints on the ground, like several people
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been in and out of here in the last day or two.
Is there any? Are there any pieces of paper on the ground, like stuff with like addresses written? I'm just like, you know.
Unfortunately, nothing at all like that.
Is there a chest of drawers or anything
There's
like
a
it?
chest of drawers, and there's a couple of there's like an
Yeah,
extra
we
shirt, and
go
that's
through
been,
there, like, yeah.
Okay,
You find
so-
an extra shirt. And
I'm
you
not
find
touching
some
this dude's
socks,
jocks. No.
But there's actually not a lot of clothing there, suggesting that people have probably stole some of his clothes. And the shirt that you do find is quite stained, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
holes
yeah,
in it.
But also,
Yes,
he wouldn't have like a lot of clothes to start with.
no, he wouldn't.
For someone in
No.
that like poor area. So my thought was, I was meant to ask, is there any like personal belongings in the room that people might not want, like hygiene or whatever, like underwear, I don't know, socks, that someone who would be looking for valuables probably wouldn't consider it valuable, but someone who's been packing to go would probably take it with them. Like,
Well,
I don't know,
No, and that's
Yes.
the thing,
21st
like,
century alternative would be like a toothbrush. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
So, what you find?
Homes and things, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like.
There's nothing at all like. Hold on, let me just do a roll. Not great. You find a small packet of cigarettes, and that was kind of
Okay.
tucked into the mattress. And when you're lifting it, you pull out, and that's like something that, like,
But-
that's kind of weird. If somebody was
So-
leaving, they'd take
They
the
would
cigarettes.
take
take
the
that with
smokes.
them, yeah,
These are
because I
expensive
guess the
cigarettes.
tobacco
Absolutely.
is something that people pay for, so
Yeah,
like
so-
you wouldn't leave that behind. So that's why I was wondering if there had been a shuffle, because I was
Yeah.
thinking
But that's,
he might
as
have
I
opened
said,
the door
it
and they
doesn't-
dragged
no,
him. No, it doesn't look like it.
and this is with, and as I said, that 18 was a pretty good roll. That's where you're getting this strange stuff. Like, you see the cigarettes. If he was leaving, he would have taken all of his clothes.
Yeah.
But, like, he hasn't.
Yeah.
And the fact that the door is unlocked and you were able to just walk in yourself,
Yeah.
suggesting that his neighbors were probably in here and stole whatever little valuable things they could. It's
Yeah.
very
The fact that he
strange.
didn't take the smokes is weird.
It's
Like,
very-
Well, he-
He smoked and he didn't lock the room when he left,
It's
you know?
really there's definitely no signs of a struggle. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like he was murdered and then the body dragged away. There's no sign of that.
yeah, like the
Or even
broken
just
chair.
forcefully
the
kind
broken
of taken
chair
out.
looks like it was because it was old and it was like
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My
murmured.
question was: is it like broken from? Just
no,
being
it's like
shite.
the
Yeah,
wood
yeah,
is
yeah.
rotting.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, fair.
Can I pull out all the drawers and just see if there's anything underneath, behind? You know, sometimes people hide stuff like under the drawer or behind, or
Yeah.
maybe write something
Any
on it,
like
whatever.
suspicious loose
Mhm.
floorboards, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But also, are there the other thing? Are there any kind of things that they wouldn't be considered to be of value, but they would be kind of considered keepsakes? Maybe is there anything like that, or
Oh, like photos or stuff like that? You think?
even photos, or
Letters.
Letters.
there could be a comb, but that comb could be really special for some reason, like that kind of stuff. Like, is there any sort of random shit that's just not
Yeah,
valuable?
Gwen is going to be
There.
looking for some sort of personal item because she can, of course, cast locate person if she has something of value.
Okay.
So I don't know if like the smokes would do it, but maybe the shirt
Maybe.
would be enough.
Sure, maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
No handkerchiefs or such. No, they would have been stolen.
Okay, I tell you
Do
what.
you get what I
I'll
mean,
let-
Neil? What I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I'll let you do one more awareness roll, one player, and they can be assisted by one other person. Who's doing the roll?
Who's got the
I
highest
have only
awareness?
one awareness. Who has
Yeah,
higher
so have
awareness?
I. I only have
think
one as well.
Sylvia and Mina have the highest. And
I have a 1 and I rolled terrible, so it should not be me.
Okay, then.
I have
not me.
0, but I rolled.
You rolled
fairly
quite
You've
well.
been
the
rolling
dice,
really well.
so I probably won't roll well for the 3rd time.
You
So
have your
who's rolling?
inspiration die,
who's rolling? And you cannot give your inspiration die.
but you could use it. I could assist, and you could use your.
Yeah.
You've got your.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's try and do
if
that.
necessary, you can use it. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, let's try and do that.
but it's
I
there. For.
believe in you.
Exactly.
I believe in
Let's
you.
go.
Pipes, go.
Let's go.
Taliesin.
I rolled 16.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And that's
I'm going
17
to
with my
use-
help.
Are you using
I'm going to use
inspiration
inspiration
die?
dice as well
Yeah.
because why not?
Amazing.
I didn't use it last time because I kept it for too long.
Yeah.
That's 6.
We always do that.
So,
Always.
22.
23.
It's a 23 with my help. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
23.
awesome.
Okay, well that's a good roll.
It's really good.
So then what we'll say
Amazing.
is you find
Excuse me.
The plot thickens now.
I genuinely, I totally thought you said the blood.
as you're
So I was
like
like,
moving
what?
stuff around and looking around, you pull the chest of drawers back slightly, and you notice that one of the skirting boards is slightly loose. Okay, something you didn't notice before.
Secrets.
So, pulling back the skirting board, and you do see there's a small little space inside, okay? And reaching into that little space, you pull out what looks to be it's like it's a small little hip flask, but it's actually really, really nice. Okay? And there's a small engraving on it. A heart, and inside the heart, a J and an E. Now,
Okay.
if you open up the hip flask, you can smell the strong spirits inside it. Probably some sort of a cheap gin that would rot your gut if you tried to drink it. But the hip flask itself, it actually looks very
A
valuable.
J and an E, you
Yeah,
say?
with the little
Well,
heart. In a
It's
little
not-
heart.
It's not the
Jill
name
Simone.
Colette, his wife.
Mm-mm.
Well, no, this is no. You are.
Oh, this is the
you
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
in the flat
My
of
bad.
Jules Lamont.
Yes.
That's his
Yeah, but like,
initials.
maybe.
J-E. Well,
Well,
I
J-
can use this to
Cast locate person.
possibly find out where he is.
Yeah.
So Gwen will sit down on the floor and
Okay.
pull out her map and pull
Oh,
out
do
her
you want me to
pendulum.
sit on this floor? Oh,
Yeah. And hold onto the hip flask and swing the pendulum over the map. Does
Okay.
anything help?
So
them?
you're casting locate person, yes?
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay. And this takes a minute for you to cast. As
Okay.
you sprinkle the iron filings over it, and then holding the hip flask in one hand. Okay.
Ready to drink
and
some of
you
this.
are swinging your pendulum around it, and that focuses your magic and channels and directs it down. And you've seen Gwyn cast this spell before. As the spell is progressing, and it's really, really like you, Sylvia and Justine, you are also spellcasters, but you're like, you know, your magic is which magic is so different to both sorcery
Yeah.
and druidry. You know, when you
Because
cast a spell,
Sylvia
it's
taps
instant.
into she taps into her
Well, it's
connection
not
to
just that.
nature.
When you cast spells, it's instant. But you've seen a few of the spells that Gwyn casts where she has to spend quite a long period of time channeling and shaping the spell for it to be released. And this isn't one of them. Like a minute.
Houston is just going to sit there just being like,
It's so fascinating.
I wonder how it works. Like,
Okay, so now, Okay, and eventually you see the iron filings order themselves into lines, and they are creating a map of Cambrai. Not the
Okay.
entire city, but one of the neighborhoods in the city, and it's fairly detailed, and it's focusing on what looks to be a relatively large building. So,
Is it the
can
hospital?
I have an intellect check, please, from people to if you can see if you can recognize the
Yes.
shape?
Yes. I have a huge intellect.
You are
Nine.
quite
All of
smart,
it.
and you
But I like
also
thinking
have
it.
Justine. You can also add your +1 for memory to this as well.
Oh, I can do
Woohoo.
so as well. So, dirty 20.
Cool.
I got a
And Justine,
16.
I rolled a 15 and got a 17 plus
I
2.
rolled 18, so that's +5. I don't know. I rolled great today. What the hell?
Yeah.
okay.
That
You
is
saw,
amazing.
folks.
So
You
good.
all rolled really well tonight, and you all recognize yes, that is the hospital.
Oh.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god, this is amazing.
The question is, does the spell work on dead people?
No,
No.
No.
it does not.
So he's alive.
And that was important because when Gwyn cast this spell for Mina to try and locate her brother, and it gave the location of Cambrai, it was the first time Mina had confirmation that her brother was
Yeah.
actually still alive. Because if the
Oh
target
yeah,
of the
yeah,
spell
yeah, yeah.
is dead, the spell
Yeah, sorry.
fails.
Forgot about
The
that.
man is spent, but the spell fails.
Because
So,
I was
yeah.
watching that without participating, so I kind of forgot about that.
No, of course, yes. So yes, he is alive, and according to Gwyn's spell, he appears to be inside the hospital where Mina's brother is.
Okay,
Well,
I
we
will
should-
relay information.
Oh,
We
everybody
should go there.
recognized.
Oh, everybody recognized.
Yeah.
Cool,
We
cool.
should go there immediately,
Yeah,
yeah?
immediately. Let's go.
Okay.
Well, let's leave this shit.
What time of day or evening is night, whatever? What time of
It's getting
day?
late. It's after 6.
Okay.
Perfect. That's a perfect time
Well,
to
we
break
can
into
always
hospitals.
yes. Well, we can always say we're going in to visit Mina's brother.
Yes.
If that's okay
we
with
can
you,
do-
Mina, too.
Absolutely.
I will say that I can restore him.
Absolutely.
So
Also, I can stay with him and perform healing magic as a distraction while the rest of you.
yeah,
Well,
if only
he-
you had a party
I-
member who could turn invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I have.
Well, I do have an ability to, I don't know if I told you yet, but it's something I've been practicing. I do have an ability to change
But
my
we can send
form
They
for
all
a
saw
very
you.
short.
Oh,
remember?
we saw you in the
They
Fey
saw
Mount.
you in the Fey Mount.
Oh, no,
turn into-
no. I'm talking about a different way.
Oh,
No,
what?
no.
I'm
This
just
is,
saying you can go in as a cat. Like, can you remember what you see as a cat? Yeah, you
I
can.
could go in as a cat, but I might not get away with it. But I could do one
I
better.
don't think I think a cat
could
would be
go
seen.
in as the police constable that we met earlier, or one of his
You
associates. Yeah.
Oh, you have. So I know I have heard of spells that can change the
Only
appearance.
for a short while, but it might be enough to ask some
But
questions that he may
I
not
think-
answer.
Yeah,
5
but I
minutes.
think
It's
also
5 minutes. Okay, now
I do think also
Let's-
we could just go in and
Well, let's
say
go.
yeah.
Let's also not forget that I have my little ankle on the grave.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Lovely
I
day.
just
you can
want
blend
to-
with the environment.
So I just need to point something out. Arcane Mask is a pure illusory spell. So you could change your appearance to look like the constable,
I still sound like
but you would still sound like Gwyn.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have to
right.
He was using that all the time, but you have to
drop
go.
a few.
Really
Yes.
like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I distinctly remember a time in campaign one and Selena going, "Oh, I'm gonna go try to slash." Just doing
Yeah.
like, Jesus.
I mean,
So,
if
yeah.
anything, you can disguise yourself as like one of the nurses. I'm sure there are like some sort of like women
Snoop around.
working
Yep.
in there
Yep.
at some point.
I mean,
that's
you've
very
only
clever.
been dealing with one nurse, but you've seen like at least one other nurse.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we could go in as ourselves and have this as a backup plan if he doesn't, if
Yeah.
he's not forthcoming
Let's
with information.
try Yankee first because he blends in with the surrounding fairly well.
It does, yeah.
Okay,
To spy
we
on
have
him,
a
yes.
plan. Let's do this, yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
And you
Okay.
can sit comfortably in the foyer or wander around because you're like, happen to forget where my brother's room is. So you're never
True.
too far from Anki, you know.
So you
Yeah.
head back to the hospital. By the time you
Yep.
get there, it's after 6:30, so it is getting quite late for visitors.
Mm.
Okay,
Mhm.
but you get there and you go up, you go through the front door, and you see Nurse Clement is there, and there's the pretty slim blonde that you've met a few times, and she's just kind of sitting at a front reception, writing in a ledger, and she looks up at you all surprised. It's like, oh, is everything? Oh, it's
Oh,
not.
I know
It's
it's a
past
bit
visiting.
late.
Like it's
I
very
know
very
it's a bit
late.
late, but I did want to say good night to my brother, if that's okay.
It's. I mean,
Please.
we generally do not like the patients to be disturbed, especially patients like your brother who can have volatilities.
Was kind of talking to me a little bit there the
Give me a
first
charm
time.
roll. Give me,
I'm really hoping.
give me a charm roll.
Can I assist? You know, we are traveling back soon. This may be one of her last opportunities to visit with him.
Okay, well, Gwen, you can assist with your.
That was a nat 20.
Okay.
What?
Right.
It's like my
Okay. She
first one
says.
of the entire
Okay.
campaign.
Well. I cannot.
Gwen, flash your boobs.
I want to say that.
I cannot allow you all. Okay,
I
Madame.
wouldn't. He'd be
Madame
way too disturbed.
No, Mademoiselle Zweizig, if you would like to go up, yes.
Yes, yes.
And she gestures to Sylvia. Were you planning on going up and giving some assisting healing magics?
Yeah,
too?
I can do this.
Okay.
I certainly I have Sylvia's gonna start rummaging in pouches because she always carries snacks. I can certainly
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you two want to go up, you know where you are. If you don't mind, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay here.
Of
Thank
course.
And
Thank you so much.
as you're doing that, you hear the sound of voices, masculine voices, and then footsteps, and then coming down towards you, you see Dr. Fournier, and he's not on his own. He's talking to another man. Can everybody give me an intellect roll, please?
Oh. Oh my
You
gosh.
can add memory.
I'm using my little
11.
skull dice by Dakota Irish, by the way, and they're my lucky dice.
Oh, they're the ones I use for critical injuries.
Yeah.
So you can
Okay.
add
So-
memory if you have the memory talent.
So I rolled 13, then plus 4 intellect.
Plus
That's
1 for
17.
memory.
Plus
is
1 memory.
18.
That's 18.
Okay.
And I rolled 16 plus 2, 18.
Okay.
I got it. 3.
I got an
Yay.
11.
Sylvia, or sorry, not Sylvia, Gwyn and Justine, the gentleman who Dr. Fournier is talking to, you're pretty sure you saw him once before, like briefly passing. You were going into the hospital and he was coming out. Okay, he's tall, quite a handsome, very attractive looking man with curly auburn hair, a very well kept trimmed beard, a slightly tan complexion and a lean build. He's very very well dressed in a tan and light brown 3-piece suit, and he's carrying a very fine gentleman's cane with what looks to be a sphere
Did we
of
see that guy
quartz,
going to the hospital? Like,
on top of it. And as him and Dr. Fernie are talking, they clearly like are friends and they know each other. He's got this kind of soft, easygoing smile. Like you've never interacted, but you did literally just see him once before. You were going into the hospital as he was coming out. And as they're getting closer to you, Dr. Fernier, he's going, well, as I said again, it's wonderful for you to come here, Sebastian. Thanks for all the help. And we should definitely arrange to go out for dinner. And he's kind of, he sees you all, like, oh, ladies, it's very late for visitors.
So Justine is going to step up and just go like, Dr. Fournier, is that you?
What way?
It's so lovely to meet you. My name is Justine. I'm a student at Ghent University, and I studied medicine a bit. I'm a sorcerer.
Oh.
And yeah, I've heard of you. So my friend's brother is here, and my friend Mina, she was talking about how amazing of a doctor you are.
Justine, give me a fresh awareness roll now.
Oh my gosh, she is
Because
fucking
Justine hasn't met
No, you haven't.
Dr. Fournier
No,
yet.
you haven't.
Yes. Oh my
11.
god.
Okay, fine. You can give me a charm roll now if you want. You have used that inspiration die.
That is
But surely
16.
it's your powers of being
Okay,
wholesome.
and he's like, okay, so Dr. Fernier is kind of shocked by this. I say, sorry, you've heard of me, Mademoiselle, but I'm just a. I mean,
Oh,
I mean, would it this been from my previous time when I was working in Paris, maybe?
absolutely, of course. So I heard of you from the times I was in Paris. So my best friend Aminata, who's sadly not here with us today, she's from Paris
Oh, I
herself.
think I met her.
And
Yes, I think I met her before. I think
oh,
maybe I don't know.
have you?
Maybe I don't know now. I'm not sure. And he's kind of been taken back by this pretty young woman who's like, "Oh, I've heard of you." You're like, "Oh, I'm so happy to meet you."
Yeah. And then when I arrived here, so my friend Mina was talking so much about you and how much you've done for her poor brother.
Oh well, I mean,
Poor
it's my
thing,
job.
it's awful what happened to him.
As a
I,
healer, I try my best.
of course, and I've actually always wanted to become a healer. It's just
Really?
absolutely yes. It's just my parents, they wouldn't really allow me. See, I was born with an arcane spark,
We
so
don't. It's very rare to have women pursuing a medical field. It's just that the male intellect is better suited to those kind of sciences, as you
oh,
know.
absolutely.
While this is
No
happening,
doubt.
what's Mina and Sylvia doing?
I assume we're
Are
going up
you
the
gonna
room.
try and slink off up to the room or what?
Yeah.
And
well,
what's
we've
Gwyn
already
doing?
said we are
So Gwyn is going
setting
to
this
come up
guy on fire.
behind Justine and go, Doctor, such a fan, and slip her amulet of her rabbit's foot,
Okay.
her amulet of fortune, into Justine's hand.
Okay.
And that will allow Justine to, twice per short rest, reroll an ability test.
Give me a dex roll here to see how
Because she
suddenly
may
it is.
need it. Now, I do want it back, but you can have it for the day. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, no.
You can add your quick reflexes. I'm being generous. I shouldn't.
Can
It's more of
can
nimble
That
fingers.
is the
can Grain
seven
use
total.
her rabbit foot while
No, she
giving
can't.
Oh,
you?
my God. Yeah.
Just
That's a
just
7.
bump into her and go, oh, I'm so
Total.
sorry, darling, and then
Right.
press it.
Well, you're not sure. He might have seen like he sees you kind of grasp Justine's hand for a second, and then after that, do you want to do anything, Gwyn?
No, I'll just hover.
You're gonna hover behind. Okay, so me
Yeah.
and Sylvia, you slink off, and he turns as you were saying, Justine, to the doctor. As he said, that the female mind is not as well suited to the medical sciences.
Yeah. And Justine would just like clench her teeth, but kind of go like, "Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm so happy to finally meet such a great mind like yourself."
Oh well.
And then she's going to turn to another person and be like, "And excuse me, I haven't quite. I don't think we've been introduced. My name is Marie David."
Did you not just say your name was
Oh,
Justine
you-
to the doctor? I
Your
think you
name is
did.
Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
So I'll allow you that.
Sorry,
I will allow that. Okay. You did introduce yourself
Marie Justine.
as Justine to Dr. Fernier.
Damn.
Oh, that's her nickname. We call her that all the time. Just a
So,
pet name. Isn't
I'll,
that right?
I'll
Justine?
allow that slip. Okay. So do you introduce yourself by your full actual name?
Yeah. Fuck that shit. Like I
Okay,
went
so-
with that.
Yeah.
I
So-
forgot that I had a.
No, you had actually
different
introduced
one.
yourself as Justine.
Although that's probably makes sense because we don't want Doctor to hear about investigative journalists, whoever.
So, the a very attractive man who the doctor's on is oh, my name is Sebastian Moncler. It's very nice to meet you. You're a student of sorcery, yes?
Yes, in the University of Ghent.
Oh, I am actually also a sorcerer.
How interesting! A colleague.
What?
What an unexpected place to meet a man of science like yourself.
Yes, myself and Antoine, so Dr. Fernier, we've known each other for many years. We met in university and we're old friends.
That's amazing. That's so fascinating. I do have some friends who are medical students as well, and we've always discussed what science and arcane can do together, and in that exciting, fascinating era of discovery and industry and development, imagine what great minds like yourself could come up with working together. I think students of science and medicine and arcane should gather together more and work on things more.
I agree, actually. In fact, I've been working on my field of the arcane for many years, trying to see if it could marry it into the medical areas. Not with great success, but looking at the idea of perhaps having enchanted prosthesis for people who would perhaps lose limbs that could replace those lost limbs. It's something that I've been working on for quite some time, in fact, but it's still a long way off being truly successful.
That's truly fascinating. And Justina's going to lower her voice and be like, well, as a people of science, we all understand that a great success is impossible to achieve without great sacrifice. And sometimes a small step is just enough for a big discovery. And a small sacrifice is nothing in comparison to great achievements of science for the whole humanity.
Give me a new charm roll.
That's fucking 18. Neil, I swear, I don't know what's going on.
And he kind of leans in. He says, "It's good to meet a fellow intellect who understands what is needed to truly progress in the world." And he gives you a knowing look, a very knowing look, and not in. This is like, it's not like, oh, hot woman. Like, this is, yeah. Um,
And
mm.
I think Justine is kind of, as a person, she's sort of torn in between,
Uh-huh.
because I think to a certain extent she can understand those views
Uh-huh.
and she can share those views as well. So
Uh-huh.
I don't think she's mildly terrified, but also like in awe, because she herself wouldn't probably dare to go as far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's going to give a knowing look as well, and just say, well, you are clearly way ahead of your time, Mr. What's his name?
Monclerc.
Sebastian
Monsieur
Monclar.
Monclerc. And actually, at that moment, you kind of glance down and you notice that the beautiful gentleman's cane that he's carrying, it's like this ebony wood with a, like, it looks like a quartz crystal sphere. You notice there's arcane glyphs etched into the sides of it. Okay? So, Mina and Sylvia slipping off to her brother. Justine and Gwyn having met a new and very, very interesting person that Justine might be actually developing
Interested.
a connection with. Who knows where that's going to lead? The party having already been led to the hospital because Gwyn's spell revealed that a missing man, the friend of a criminal who had died in his cell the day before he shoot a murder. It's a lot of strange coincidences and mysteries are stacking up, but like any good story, you do need a pause, and we are going to take a pause right now in our story, and we'll see what happens next. So, folks, we're going to take a 5-minute break. I need a fresh refill of my wine, and we will be 5 minutes, I promise. So don't go anywhere. We have to see where this all leads to. Okay, we'll be back very, very soon. Okay, bye.
I'm loving this.
Okay, folks, and we are back. So, just before we restart, I want to talk about a Kickstarter. It's not mine, it's by a good friend of mine, Andy at Lost Haven Arts. The link is now in the chat for his wonderful game, Abaddon the 13 Seals. This is a dark fantasy TTRPG. It's got demons, it's got fate. It uses a really fun card mechanic using playable cards. So if you're looking for something a bit of a break from your dice, definitely check it out. It's doing well, but it could really do with your support. We'd love to see this game, get its funding. And he's a wonderful member of the TTRPG community. He's a great artist. He has done some art for Fayard, which you will see when we eventually publish our book. And we just love this is his first attempt at a Kickstarter, and Kickstarters are so hard to succeed in. So any support at all would be greatly appreciated. As I said, the link is in the chat right now. So, returning to the game. When last we left our heroes, the party had found themselves back in the hospital, not to visit Mina's brother, but to look for a missing person, Jules Aymon, a friend of this other individual the party only heard about through the newspaper, Jacques Dutoit, a man who had been found guilty of murder and yet was found dead in his prison cell the day before his execution. The party, having tried to track down Aymon, had made their way to the flat that he was living in the tenement structure that he was in, and found hidden in there what looked to be a very valuable hip flask, clearly a precious item belonging to him, that Gwyn was able to use to cast her locate person spell, and the spell revealing that he was in fact in the hospital. He hadn't been seen for several days now. In fact, when they'd visited the factory he worked in, his employer told him if they find him to tell him he was fired. But Gwyn's spell working means he is alive. Now, having gotten there, Mina and Sylvia are heading up to Mina's brother's room, while Justine has found herself in a very deep conversation with a Monsieur Sebastien Monclerc, apparently an old friend of Dr. Fournier, and a man who is apparently also an artificer. And in his conversations
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer. In his conversations with Justine, has told her of his interests in trying to develop prosthetics to help those who have been injured and lost limbs. So definitely something of an artificer's background if he's trying to create objects like that. So returning back to the story, Mina, Sylvia, you head up to your brother's room, Mina. When you get there, you see him. He's sitting on the bed, kind of looking out the window as he usually is. There is a bowl beside the bed on the little bed.
Does he still look okay after the heal all?
He looks like the heal all appeared to have had no effect on him. He's still looking pretty much the same as he did the last time you saw him.
Still gaunt and stuff, yeah.
But he's got like a little bit more color in his cheeks inside of the restorative
but
stuff.
it's been a few days.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so I want to do that again.
Yeah.
For sure.
And whatever you cast it on, and I'll feed it to him.
Yeah.
Right. So you cast your spell on some food and you try and feed it to him, and he does.
Sylvia's gonna keep her distance from this.
Yeah, he does take the food from you, but his eyes are vacant. He's not recognizing you.
Yeah.
Is he? But he did turn to Mina the first time.
When you come into the room, he turns because of the noise, but he doesn't. There's no recognition.
No, but the first time,
Mina he saw me, he did recognize her, but he hasn't since.
I don't know if he just said like you remind me of my sister, so it's not even.
Didn't actually, but
not even that.
The nurse and doctor did say that was the
first time he spoke. Yeah,
first time he'd ever spoken, and the first time he'd actually interacted with his environment. So, unfortunately, there does not appear to be any change.
Well, I feed him his food. Give him a kiss on the forehead, and then I go over to Sylvia and I'm like, I feel like sneaking around a little bit, trying to find your man.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You can see from Sylvia's expression, she's kind of like, "Oh yes, getting out of this room. That's absolutely fucking awesome. Let's do that."
Mina's just kind of that I've done all I can. I mean, like I can't do much more. Do you know what I mean? Since we're here, she's really wants to find your man. You know.
Yeah, I think we should do what we can in this moment, which right now I think yeah, we should try and find this man, but I don't know if we were with Gwyn, perhaps she could cast a spell again.
I
We
know.
could see the
I know.
room, but
I know. Well, let's sneak around anyway and see what we can find because.
okay, yeah, and if you know,
and just if somebody stumbles, we go like, oh Jesus, we got lost completely.
yeah,
in this place.
we say we got completely. You know, you can say that.
I'm so upset today, you know, after seeing him
Yeah,
again.
or
blah.
or that I became incoherent, because
Issues.
it wouldn't be untrue.
Exactly. So we
you
wouldn't
could-
even lie.
You could say something. We will figure it out anyway.
Exactly.
The point is, between your brother and my general instability, it should be fine.
Right.
Exactly.
So you come out.
Come on, let's sneak around.
The hallway that you're on, there's like about 4 or 5 doors off to the sides, and then it goes off on one end, and then it turns, and then the other direction leads back to the stairs, which would lead you downstairs. Okay, you're on the first floor.
Would it lead us right to the hall again? Because I kind of have a feeling he might be in the cellar. What do you think, Sylvia? I think he might be downstairs if somebody was hiding a person.
I think he would be in some area not
Subterranean,
accessible by the general public, certainly.
Let's see if we can sneak past, or
So,
maybe
Mina,
we don't even have to go down the hall. Let's go downstairs, and go down.
So, Mina, you do know that this hospital was some sort of a military building, a barracks or something before that, maybe even a castle before that. So you would expect
might
it
have
probably
a dungeon.
has, well, maybe, possibly does, certainly would have cellars. And the stairway that you're getting up is definitely not going to be the only stairway in this building.
True. Yeah, shall we go down the hall and see if we find another stairway or something?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. We do that.
And we just say that we became lost because all of the corridors look the same.
Absolutely.
Okay. We do that.
So you go down the corridor, and it turns to the right, and you go down this landing, and as you do eventually get to, like, there's doors off to the sides. Looking in them, you can see most of these doors are leading into similar rooms like the one your brother's in.
Yeah, patients' rooms,
Are patients' rooms. Some of them are occupied, some of them are empty. And then you get to, there's a door at the very end of this other corridor that after the right hand turn, and you open it, you can see it opens into it's a small stairs that leads down. Okay, think of it like a servant's stairs, you know?
Yeah. Perfect. Come on. Looking around, no one here.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. Come on.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So nothing could go wrong.
Going down the stairs, you find yourself coming down onto the ground floor, and then you go through a door, and you find yourself coming into a fairly large kitchen area.
Okay.
Oh, kitchens. Okay, so we can sneak around a bit more. Anyone in the kitchen this time?
There is no one in the kitchen. It looks like so there's a large Aga style stove. Okay. And it's still hot, but so it was obviously being used relatively recently.
But it's like 7, so they'd cooked dinner.
Perfect.
That makes sense. Relatively recently, but if you open up the door, you can see that the fuel is kind of banked and it's burning down. It wasn't. Perfect. It's not fully.
They're done, based.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
You know what you got.
Very much getting that. There's two doors coming out of the kitchen.
See
Okay.
if there's a way to the pantry, or if there's a pantry or a way down to the cellar or something from the kitchen. There usually is.
So
I
Is
am
there?
just concerned we may not be able to, if we are discovered, we may not be able to find our way back.
But we'll deal with it when it comes to that.
Um,
Yeah, Mina is just really looking for a way. Maybe there is a way down to the cellar from a kitchen. There usually is a way into the cellar.
we are running out of plausible
There's two doors.
deniability.
Okay, like
one door at the northern wall and one at the eastern wall.
All right. Do you want to pick a
just
door?
carefully pick a door. Let's pick the one in the north.
Okay. So you go to the door.
To see if it leads to a hallway where I can hear your
So-
man talk.
The doorway that you open the north opens up into a small room. There's
Uh-huh.
shelves on the sides, and you do see some food on it. There's vegetables. There's some sacks of what look to be oatmeal or some sort of
Pantry.
grain, and it's small. And then there's another door, like about 3 meters down. It's a small, this small room. Okay.
Okay, I'll check to where that door leads
That
to.
door has a set of stairs that are going down.
Okay, let's go then. Come on.
We need to start thinking about how we are going to get out.
We just walk back, you know. Be
Oh,
fine. Be fine. There's no one here. Be fine.
So you walk down this set of stairs. It's not. It goes down for like 15 meters. Okay, and you find yourself coming into a cellar.
Okay.
It's low. The ceiling is maybe around 2 meters high, so it's not that high. Arched stone.
It's perfect for
ceiling.
me. I'm a short person, so like
Yeah,
you know me. There's no issues there.
And in this, it's a fairly large space. Okay, so there's like pillars going down, the entire room, this cellar that you've come into, and you see there's like two other exits of stairs leading back up. But this is probably like maybe 20 by 30 meters, so it's quite large. It's probably like this cellar is underneath pretty much the entire structure of the hospital. Okay.
I think what we should do, we should go back to Gwen, have her cast the spell again, find out exactly where this man is.
Yeah, but like the problem is, we could come in later. Do you want to see if we can sneak in, break in later?
Perhaps, maybe, but we are here now, so maybe we should
Let's have a
investigate.
quick look and see if
And
there's any sort of
then
hidden door or
I
some
do
shit.
think that
Exactly.
we should leave, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, because
okay.
otherwise it's not quite plausible that I'd stay that long.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to see if I can find any sort of signs that there's some hidden kind of entry or
Secret
something.
enemy hideout.
No, but like some scratches on the floor, that kind of shit. You know?
So just to further describe the room, there's numerous boxes and crates. Some of them are labeled with medical supplies, so some have bandages and stuff like that. There's some other boxes and storage for a bit more food items. It looks like there's some slightly nicer stuff here. You see, there's one small section where there's what looks to be like maybe 15 bottles of wine. Okay, this is probably for the doctor, and then you see other stuff like there's like small barrels for things like lamp oil, candles.
Yeah, general supplies. Yeah.
It's not like packed with stuff. It's mostly empty. Okay, and it's very dusty. Mina, you can see.
Oh, it's very dusty. Is there any footprints in the dust?
Well, you can. I was going to say you can see perfectly with your dark vision. Sylvie, you would have had to have taken out your fairy globe to be able to.
Yeah,
see,
fair
because
enough.
there is no light under. In here. There's no fairy lights or arc or anything like that ensconced in the walls. You do see, and this is very old, little ironworks in certain sections of the wall where like there's like stuff that looks a bit like maybe 200 years old, where they would have put torches in previously, but they never removed them. Looking around, it does look like there is definitely some footfall here, and you do see like signs of footsteps that lead clearly
People
to
with
and from
brings
the
to
kitchen.
yeah.
and
Okay.
up to the other the other exits that obviously lead to other sections of the hospital.
Anyone leading anywhere else?
Give me an awareness roll.
Okay, come on, Mom. Mama needs a good one. Mama needs a good one. Come on. Not 20.
Okay. You do spot what looks to be one set of footsteps that are going towards just one section of blank wall in one kind of corner of the cellar.
I point this out to Sylvia. Is that up in there?
There's probably a secret passage. The only thing is, if we go in, how are we going to get out, and how would we alert the others?
I just see if I can find some sort of way to how it will be opened. Just let me just investigate it for a little bit, and then we go before we go back.
Yeah,
I
and
knock
until-
on the stones, or I see kind of like
This is a
little.
fresh awareness roll.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have the 20 again. Not even.
Can I help?
Yeah.
My mighty awareness of one.
I rolled a 14, 15 with you 16.
Yeah, you're not finding anything.
Okay, well,
But that is a
You're
good
This is-
point.
you're poking
there.
bricks and you're like pulling at stuff
Yeah.
you're
This
like
is still-
trying to find
I-
secret levers and buttons and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not finding anything.
I do think that we should
That's still
we
very
should just
good.
go.
Yeah,
We should still go and we tell them.
exactly. That is still very good. So we kind of go back.
You go back
Yeah,
through the kitchen, up the stairs,
Yeah.
across,
and then
back,
come back and
down.
come back down. The normal way we haven't
Yeah,
been anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So, Justine, you, as I said, are talking to Monsieur Moncloc.
Absolutely.
Gwyn, you can tell that Justine has kind of taken their attention. Are you just gonna stand there and like kind of be up near her, or do you want to do anything?
I think as the conversation went on, I just kind of would wander away, but stay in the vicinity so I can see and hear, and just kind of hang around.
Yeah, I mean, like you're hearing Justine talking to this guy, and
Like it's medical speak, which is really nothing to do with Gwen. So I've kind of wandered off, but I'm in the area.
Yeah, like they're all like it's weird. They're talking about magic too, but it's sorceress magic. It's so
Yeah.
completely different to the way you use magic.
And I assume after the doctor said that, like, oh yeah, freaking women's minds are frail, for that you just be like, ugh,
Yeah,
and just walk away, like.
So Justine, as I said, as you're talking to him, do you like what kind of stuff are you saying? We don't need to roleplay the entire conversation, although I happily will. But what kind of stuff are you like? Are you trying
I'd
to
say
get anything out of this conversation, or
no, not yet. I think we're just talking arcane,
Yeah.
and kind of for Justine to show that she's actually good at arcane. She knows what she's talking about. She dabbled into less what's the word? Less common
Savory.
stuff. Like she knows the spells from the Sphere of Twilight, which would be a bit of like,
It's not. Well, I mean, it's one of
but
those.
they won't teach you that
Not bad
stuff
enough.
in a college. Like
They do and they don't. In that certain spells in the Sphere of Twilight are
Yeah.
really useful. Like say, Moonlit Script is a Sphere of Twilight spell, and it's a very practical and useful spell. But then other spells in the Sphere of Twilight to do with teleportation, illusion, that kind of scrying. It's like so.
Yeah, Justine is not going to reveal all that, but she'll kind of hint at it.
Tasty true sight.
I'm interested in a little bit more than just Sphere of Arcane. And toward the end of the conversation, she was just going to say, my apologies, gentlemen. I don't want to incline to hold you any further. It was great to finally meet you, Doctor, and Monsieur, what's his name? Moncloc. I would be very interested to know a bit more about your research. I am well-traveled myself. I have seen things or two that I could share. And she's going to lower her voice so that, like, if a doctor probably be a bit like difficult to hear. For example, I've seen the Elven Queen who went past the limitations of her body.
When you say
So-
that, he leans in. Sorry, you saw. Well, first of all, sorry, I did not think there were any elves still left in France. I thought they all left after the revolution.
And Justine's kind of going to look around and be like, well, for obvious reasons, I don't think that's a conversation for this settings. But me and my friends were staying in that little hotel over there. So if you'd like to continue this conversation further, I'll be more than happy to share what I've learned. And I'll be very, very happy to know a bit more about your research.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to meet a like-minded individual like yourself.
Yeah, you've like this, like that. What you just said there. Now he is
So
like,
smooth.
He is hyper focused on you now. He wants to talk to you now. Yes, you have definitely piqued his interest. So, eventually, shortly after this point in the conversation, you do see Mina and Sylvia coming back down the stairs. Gwyn, Justine, give me awareness rolls.
And may I also ask, did the doctor leave the building? Could we see him?
No,
leave the
he
building,
stayed
or-
there. He was basically
Okay.
standing beside his
Yeah.
buddy during all this conversation with Justine.
I rolled
13.
13 plus 1 is 14.
What was yours, Justine?
13.
Okay, fine. Right. So yeah, Mina, Sylvia, you come back down. Dr. Finch says, "Oh, so you did see your brother, yes?"
Yes,
I-
Nancy,
I-
yeah,
I-
I gave him some food that my friend blessed, and thank you.
That does help.
But
with-
no change. But I know he seems to get a bit more color every time.
Yes,
So
I
thank you
just
so
don't
much.
have access to those magics.
And when you say that, the other guy, the good-looking guy, says, "Oh, sorry, you were a wielder of the arcade as well."
I am a druid, so I specialize in magics of the earth, but also healing and nature itself.
Interesting. I must say, I've always been envious of those casters who can access the spheres of life magic, but I am a...
Also the arcane, the divine removal of curses, that kind of thing.
Yes. Well, I have studied magic myself, but the more sorcerous...
So the raw essence of magic itself, the dispelling of the magic and creation of magical items, working with the raw magical energy.
I have been an artificer for many years.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I do find the construction of magical items to be very interesting. Very different to the magic that I have learned.
Of course, yes. And what of yourself, Mademoiselle? He turns to you, Gwyn. What
me?
skills and talents do you have? Because it seems this is a very interesting bunch of women.
Oh, absolutely. Me, I don't have much to write home about. I am a simple writer. And unfortunately, I don't share any of the skills of my colleagues here. As you said, good doctor. Women's forte is, of course, not medicine, so I do try and steer clear of it where possible.
You have other skills, Gwyn. Don't sell yourself short.
Well, I appreciate that, Sylvia, but none the good doctor would be interested in.
Okay, that technically wasn't a lie, so I'm not going to make you roll deception. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So Dr. Fernier,
so
he does usher you guys out. He says, please feel free to come tomorrow, Mademoiselle Zweizig, if you wish to see your brother again. And Mademoiselle, your magics are certainly helping him somewhat. I just wish there was more we could do to heal his mind.
I'm going to keep meditating, and hopefully something will come to me.
D'accord.
That is how it has that is how it works for me. So,
well, bonne nuit, mesdemoiselles, and we shall probably see you tomorrow. Ouais?
Yes, bonne nuit, and merci bien, monsieur, and
Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow.
So you all exit the hospital.
Question now. What if Gwyn does not exit the hospital? What if
Well,
Gwyn
he's
finds the
ush-
powder room? Oh no,
he is
He's
ushering you
ushering
all
us
out.
out.
We
The
are
fact
ushering you
said,
out, and I'm
yeah.
actually because I want to talk to you, so I'm
Wow.
linking arms with you and walking
Okay,
you
so
through
Okay.
the
Nina
hotel.
is
We're
like,
going. We're going.
We're going.
Dang it.
So,
Okay.
you all,
I'm gonna tell them on the way once we're out
Yeah.
of earshot from the hospital.
Mina's going to be on the other side of Gwen, but she's not going to link arms.
Sylvia,
Yeah.
I mean.
Sylvia,
Yeah,
you mean?
Sylvia.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
And I say,
Yeah.
guys, ladies, and I kind of whisper, and tell them exactly what we
Stage whisper.
found. Yeah.
And he's just going to be like, she'll be like, yeah, they're experimenting on people.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Now, so
Definitely.
we found a passage, but we couldn't find a way to open it. But I think there
There is a
definitely is
hidden
one.
room in there. There's a hidden room in there.
Okay.
We couldn't
we
find
need
a
to
way.
see someone open it
Down in the
somehow.
cellar. Down in the
Yeah.
cellar, there's a hidden room.
Myself or Anki could go and keep watch.
We have
Yeah.
to break in, guys. We have to break in. He's definitely there.
The only thing we didn't spend too long there in case someone came down because
And it wasn't sort of feasible that we spent that long, so we just
Yeah.
kind of tried to
we also couldn't open the door.
We
But
need to see someone do it.
there is definitely a way to open it.
Mm.
So we need to.
I think Monsieur Monclark, a remarkable individual indeed, such a great mind.
Oh, I mean, it's an amazing idea. I'm just wondering what they're doing.
You did amazing, by the way, Yassine.
Oh yeah, you were brilliant.
I nearly believed it myself.
And he seems like, I think he might want to continue the conversation we had.
Definitely. I think you
What did you tell him? I guess you just kind of fill us in a bit because we just missed it, Sylvia and I,
Exploit that connections that you have made with him for sure.
That is so clever of you. Yeah, totally. I think he'll come to the hotel, definitely.
Also, you are pretty, so if he does not think that. No, but it will be he's a man. It is the point with him.
Well,
I'm sorry, Yassine. I admire your intelligence, and you are very intelligent. But man, he is probably more interested in how you look and what you have to say.
Sylvia, Neil, did Sylvia and we just heard the whole my women are too feeble for the sciences kind of comment from the doctor, or
we were gone
earlier. Were we gone
we were
already?
gone at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd left just before Dr. Fernier and Monsieur Monclerc had started the conversation with Justine.
We slipped at that stage, okay, but
Yeah.
otherwise I would have said you didn't say anything.
I'd say let's wait with breaking into anything just yet.
Do you want to go and ask him a bit more?
I don't know. I am concerned about what will happen to this man if we wait. But yeah, I think you should exploit the connections that you have made.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe.
Maybe if you keep him at the inn, I could go and see if I could get in through a small crack.
So just a point on that, Gwyn, if you do use your witch ability to change into a cat, you can hold that form for up to 4 hours in the day. You can break up those 4 hours, but for no more than 4 hours. As your magic score increases, the amount of time you can spend in the animal form increases accordingly, 1 hour per magic. But so currently with a magic of 4, you can be in that form for up to 4 hours within, I say a day, I haven't bothered because this is something that, it's for pedantic rules lawyers who don't have anything better to do. But when I say a day, I mean generally within sunrise, sunset without taking the piss, roughly, obviously we can carry into the night, but don't be taking the piss.
Okay, so I couldn't do a full night. That is problematic.
That's I wanted to say that you couldn't. Obviously, if Anklegon got into the cellar, he could be completely camouflaged, because fairy dragons can their camouflage ability is like that of an octopus. So it's not just like a chameleon where it's color. They change the textural appearance as well. It's an incredible form of camouflage. So Anki could be just like perched on a pillar, and
Yeah,
you're not going
that
to see him.
was a plan from the start. Just my only concern is that
You
your
need to
man
be what,
Sebastian. No, I can
100 meters
send.
to see through him, or how far do you
Yeah,
can you?
but also I can just command him to like observe and then
And then
get back and
he can then relay to you what he saw.
Got
yeah,
you.
yeah,
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 that'd be amazing, especially if we could see how the fucking door opens, you know.
yeah, absolutely. So we can try and do that and send him in there in the morning
Okay.
and kind of just tell him to like spy for us and at least see what kind of like shenanigans is going on in there and what they're doing and how that door opens and where is it and what you need to do.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to open this door. Mina and I did try. We were poking at stones and pulling at everything.
Because
we couldn't
okay.
spend that long either, you know me.
No,
but
you
at
know,
least we
we
found
didn't know it was.
the thing, you
So
know.
we know the door is there.
Of
We
course.
can find. We can go. We can bring you to the door, but we need to figure out how to open it.
That might not even be arcane lock or anything like that. So
No.
if the Doctor Fernier is able to access it on his own, as far as I know, he's not a man of arcane, then it's probably some sort of like a
Probably
hidden
mechanical
You know,
thing, you know.
do you know, Justine, the arcane did not occur to me. I actually just assumed that it was a mundane lock.
Yeah,
that is
some mechanical
just-
hidden.
I didn't even consider that it might be an arcane lock.
Me neither, actually. Yeah.
So, which it could be, in which case we would need you to unlock it. But I don't think it is that. I think it is there is some kind of a mechanism to.
Well, I mean, Moncler is an artificer, so we do need to think that it could be magically trapped.
It could
Oh,
be,
yeah.
but not as
see-
Justine is saying. If the Doctor goes on his own, then he can't be.
Neil, my question. Sorry for interrupting, guys. My question. From talking to your man Sebastian, does he actually know like artificer stuff? Because he introduced himself as a sorcerer and he had like enchanted cane.
So this is.
Did he mention that?
I mean, he did say then later to the rest of them that he was an artificer. Artificers, pretty much exclusively all artificers' background in magic is sorcery. You're not going to have a witch or a mystic or a druid who is an
Unless
artificer.
you're a goblin.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking
Or a
about
dwarf.
about humans, okay, and not talking about the true. No, not talking about the true fae, okay. A human artificers are all sorcerers, okay, because it's through study the sphere of the arcane that you learn about things like transmutation and alchemy and the kind of magics that you need to create enchanted items. So, you know, the fact that he said to you, "Oh, well, I'm a sorcerer," doesn't in any way contradict that he is saying,
fair.
like, you know. Think of artificers as a specialist NPC sorceress class, basically. Okay. So yeah. So yeah. I mean, he's not somebody who you from your studies recognize the name of. He's not some world famous artificer. So in that respect, you don't know. I mean, you could maybe ask your friend, Josephine Gauthier, if she's ever heard of them. You know. But I mean,
I thought about that as well, actually. Yeah.
Gwyn could certainly. Gwyn, Gwyn, you know Moonlit Script, don't you?
I do.
So you could send Madame Gauthier a short message asking her, "Hey, have you heard of this guy?" If you wanted to,
Yeah,
like, you could totally
can do.
that. Like, you could do that right now if you want. Like, you like.
Yeah, I will actually do that.
I'd say by this time we're in the
No, I
hotel
only-
anyway.
Yeah, sure.
We
Of
can sit
course.
in the room and do
Of
things,
course.
you know.
You
will.
go. You
You're
get to
mute.
the hotel. You have dinner.
Yeah.
You have this conversation over dinner, and then after dinner, so you're a spell because you're only a baby witch, not mommy Gautier. Is 6 plus your resolve. So yes, that's a total of 9 words.
9.
Okay. There is just no time for pleasantries with this manuscript.
No.
Okay. I'll say, my
You're
dear,
pretty. Like your
have
smile.
you heard of Sebastian Monclure? That's
exactly. That's actually exactly 9.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Okay. So a moment later, silvery font starts appearing in front of you. Hello, my lovely. That is a name I have not heard for some time. Yes, I do know him.
Ooh.
Why?
Okay. I'm literally counting on my fingers here what words I can use. Okay.
She just had 20 words back.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, it's like,
We know.
I counted the
Neil.
very first time my jaw was on the floor. I will say we met him. What's, I have to abbreviate everything. What's he like?
Okay.
That's only 6. So.
You're fine. What is he like? Okay.
I'm
not just thinking of words. I'm thinking about what way she would phrase this. You know.
Yeah, no. This is
Hot.
totally giving me
That's
Nokia. This is giving me Nokia vibes from the old
Yes. Oh
Yes.
God, yes.
Remember when you had your, what was it, 120 characters back in the old days for a text message?
Or
Yeah.
2 messages.
This
Yeah.
is yeah, absolutely.
120 characters for a text message. Oh God.
Mate,
The days of mobile phone technology,
Oh,
the late
yeah,
90s, early 2000s. Okay.
Dreaded shorthand.
Let me think. She would say, apologies for the pause in what I'm saying here, especially for our podcast listeners. Her reply does appear. Something of a joke. He had a contract with the army to create arcane soldiers. Was a
Whoa.
complete failure.
Whoa, okay, that's kind of
So
dark.
he is a shit artificer.
Well, creating arcane soldiers is a big ask. Okay, I will obviously relay this.
Everybody can see the script. If you're doing this in the room, they can all see the script appearing in front of your eyes.
Okay, perfect.
You see, Sylvia.
And I will just write back and thank her and hope
You see,
to see her
Sylvia was very pale when that happened. Just that is, she was very, very pale. Doesn't say anything, but just like.
Can you ask how did he get the contract?
Yep. I will ask this. How did he get the contract? 6.
Sure. He said he could make arcane automatons, but his designs failed.
Ooh.
They were weak, slow, and unreliable.
Dang. So he actually made something.
Yeah.
So not a shit artificer
He
then.
then disappeared with his funds.
Okay, we're talking about basically Frankenstein here. Okay.
Oh God!
Pretty dark. Pretty dark.
Oh no! He's using soldiers to make some sort of. Oh God!
Calm down.
Oh, I'm not okay. No, Sylvia's not okay right now. Like she's sitting there, but like. Oh, I'm just, my mind is going brrr with all the like implications of this. So.
Yeah, pretty dark. Okay. Well, it goes
You said they were weak, unreliable, and what was it?
Slow.
Weak, slow, non-reliable.
That means that he like made something. They just weren't as functional as the army needed.
I mean, arcane automatons are like one of these like mythic things. Certain people have tried to make them in the past. You did see in the castle at Cherville that Marine Le Fay did have.
Oh, yeah.
She actually appeared to have constructed arcane automatons. You saw what looked like strange suits of armor with wooden frames inside them that had gears, and they were moving around. But you know,
Oh, so they're not fashioned from body parts or
well,
people.
No. Well,
So they're like
Moraines weren't.
Moraines weren't,
Moraines weren't.
but
No,
like,
but
but
automatons were a thing.
yeah.
Like
So that's so an arcane automaton
early
would
robots,
be
kind of a thing.
like think steampunk robot, magic
Yeah.
steampunk robot.
Okay.
Okay, but like
That's not so bad. I was thinking like
yeah.
Gollum
No,
No,
it's
and
no,
not.
no.
It's not a
Frankenstein.
Well,
Frankenstein
even
thing.
a
It's not.
golem would
No.
be
Golems
fine.
exist in this world, but the golems in this world are based on Jewish folklore, which I have
Yeah.
heavily researched
Yeah,
through Jewish
that's what I
cultural
mean. Yeah.
consultants. So you're not going to find any golems because we're not in Prague, basically. Okay.
No.
But
No, I think
no.
they had a chess playing thing, and then there is one.
Yeah, so there is automatons, but
Yeah.
they're like most of the automatons that like they're virtually non-existent. It's almost like a myth. When you saw the ones in the palace, it was like holy shit. But like,
So that's
but the
why when he
difference,
said he could do that, people were like,
yeah,
he's
but
out of his fucking
but of
head.
course
Like,
the
yeah.
difference
But
there being
Moraine is
that
an elf.
Moraine, an
Yeah,
elf
totally.
who's clearly gifted in magic by
Yeah.
elven standards.
Yeah, totally.
You know, so other elves would say, "Oh, she's really good at magic." From a race of people who are naturally incredibly powerful with magic, you know, like a shit elf's magic would rival that of a 10th to 12th level human
I'm-
spellcaster.
I'm just terrified we're going to come into contact with some sort of, homunculus Adam type thing.
Yeah, we could. I mean, like the thing is,
Meatloaf.
the first thing I thought was,
Constructed from dead soldiers, which I just like.
no, I think like we probably could.
Don't give you ideas. Oh my god.
Honestly,
I can see
I'm
on his
thinking
face. He's
more
like,
of like people's
Cogs are
minds in there
turning.
to move around because he can't get. But Neil, so basically, when he came up with the idea, people were literally like, "You are off your rocker. That is
Well,
stupid.
I mean,
That is like impossible." But because the army was so desperate, they were like, "Yeah, okay, if you can do it, we'll give you research money."
as far as you can guess in 20 odd words, like.
Yeah, but I suppose during the war, the humans were probably desperate. They would have taken whatever help.
The
was
idea
on
of
offer.
creating a artificial soldier
Who would
Now, you
not?
don't have to
who-
send human into
who would-
fight, yeah.
but
who
also
would
you
not-
could in theory have a factory producing soldiers as opposed
They
to
would not.
relying on
They would
humans.
not become.
Yeah.
They would not become sick. They would not need to be fed. They would not.
They would
need,
not be tired.
They would
Wow.
fight when wounded.
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
magic won't
implication-
affect them, probably.
Well, who knows? But the implications are
Well-
endless.
He disappeared with the funds.
Yeah, and he has now.
So Madame Gautier did say he was like a failure, like it didn't work, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, but now he has appeared in a military hospital.
Yeah.
Is
Definitely not a coincidence. Just like the disappearance of those two men is not a coincidence.
no.
No, it's not.
So,
And if he does trying to say, if he stepped down and said like, okay, if I can't make full like people or some sort of like artificial people,
So
I can make artificial,
clearly,
which is not a bad idea, like, to be honest with you.
artificial people failed according to Madame Gautier, but he said that he wanted to create like artificial limbs for people who lost limbs. So maybe he's starting assembling people part by part, sort of.
you don't know, or maybe he's taken what he learned from his attempt at creating an automaton and is now trying to apply that in another context.
Yeah, I mean,
Smaller.
making
Maybe he's a really, really
prosthesis
nice guy who's
is
like
is
just trying to
not
Yeah,
help
Sure.
everybody.
No,
Sure.
I mean, basically, you could. What you learn from trying to make a full scale, you could apply it to like smaller and, apply to an arm or a leg or
and
whatever.
the market
It's
for
not a bad
prosthetic
idea.
limbs in
See,
the
that still
aftermath of the
does
war.
not excuse the fact that they're probably kidnapping people.
To experiment on, no.
Yeah.
No.
No, it
I'm
doesn't.
sure after the war, in a hospital, there are plenty of people who lost limbs and who
Oh, yeah.
might be willing to participate voluntarily in such experiments, proven that they might get limbs back. So
I mean,
the fact
his own
itself,
brother lost an arm. It was literally ripped from his shoulder.
I mean, the idea is not. The idea is great. I mean, it would be brilliant if that was possible. And as you say, I think there would be plenty of people who'd be like, "Do you know what? I mean, well, I have nothing to lose. I've lost,
there is just
I lost an arm or a
clearly
leg
something
anyway. Of
wrong
course I'd be
with the
stuck."
execution of that idea.
The fact that he is in someone like that is in a military hospital makes me wonder what he might be doing.
I say,
Mm.
Dr. Fournier, when the policeman said that, didn't I say he might be experimenting on something?
Yeah,
There
your
you
instinct was correct. But what if he's experimenting on people who just can't agree in the hospital, like your brother?
Yeah, he wouldn't. Yeah, he couldn't agree. That's true. That's true. But that's, as Justine says, there's plenty of people who'd be happy to kind of, oh, you're trying to do research, you're trying to do something. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If
So
I
what
was in
is it
that
about what
position,
he's
I'd be like,
doing
yeah, sure. Like, so
that he
what is
needs?
it that he needs other people?
Mm,
Because I think there would be plenty of volunteers.
And
yeah.
I suppose the fact that, this
I mean, your
man,
manner was a
Mr.
criminal.
Raymond, who's a thugs and criminals, these are people who will not be missed by society,
Yeah, the other man would have died anyway, so fine, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
That's a bit.
I
But his
just,
friend seems to have been kidnapped in some sort of way. That's kind of, it doesn't matter who you are. You don't deserve him. Well, maybe you do. I kind of met him. He was a bit weird, but still though,
Well, he didn't
really
agree.
I don't know.
That alone, whatever experiments they're doing, if they're doing them on people, even if they're murderers, even if they were on the verge of execution, that is just wrong.
Yeah. Because again,
Because it makes
as
them
Justine, I think you
no
are
better
right.
than those
There would
people.
be- yeah, and I think you're right. There will be plenty of people who'd be happy to volunteer and say like, well, yeah, sure, you're trying to do that. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'll help you out. Like with
well, we should maybe go with the original plan. Yes, Dean, you try to develop this connection and see what you can learn. And when we know enough, then we can move.
Well, perhaps tonight we could send Anclagon to keep watch.
Oh yeah, I think this is a good idea.
What date is it in game, Neil? How long till the full moon?
2 weeks or so.
I've been writing it every.
Monday the 11th, I believe.
Yes, the 11th of March,
And the full moon is on
the 25th.
Okay, so we do have a bit of time to stay before we to go to Cherville to take care of a werewolf.
14 days.
Okay.
Now, don't forget, it's like, 3-4 days of travel to get
Travel,
from where you are
yeah,
to Cherville.
to get back.
Yep.
So
Okay.
don't forget this. I think it was 4 days in total to get
4
back.
days.
Yeah,
we
to
have
get back to Cherville.
10 days,
So you have 10
basically.
days.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we do have time. What do you think we should do, Justine?
I think sending Anki down there. How dark is the cellar?
I mean,
Oh, it's dark. There is no source of
there's
light
no
down there.
source of light. But Anklegon has dark sight.
That
He
won't,
can see in
that
the
won't
Yeah,
be a
no,
problem
just
for
in
a
terms
fairy
of like I know
dragon.
you said he blends well with the surrounding, but just as an additional precaution to make sure there are like
There was
no.
no light sources in the cellar.
Oh, hey, Raiders. Thank you. Thanks, Penny Dragon Games.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's send Anklegon down there to kind of perch in the cellar and just keep notes of everything. Let's do that in the morning. Let's give him some rest because
Yeah.
he won't be having that in the next while. So before the hospital starts working, let's send him down there just before the like workers arrive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good idea. Good idea. Good idea.
So,
What time was it the last time? Maybe she will remember. She has memory. Yeah, well, I suppose you could let me roll. What time was it when we met your man the last time? Was it an evening?
no, it was like in the middle of the day or something.
Was in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
So I
like, it was
wonder if he
literally
actually works during the day.
No, it was literally just like as you were walking into the hospital, he was coming out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 11, 12 o'clock in the day.
Was it something like that? Yeah.
So is that the plan? The party's going to go to bed tonight, and then the next morning you get up and you're going to head down to the hospital so you can kind of try and sneak Anklegon in. Yes.
Just happened to walk past. Nothing to see here. Just taking a walk.
Okay, so you head to bed. You have a long night's sleep. You're not in any way disturbed. Next morning you get up. You have your breakfasts. Fairly normal.
Well,
sorry.
reread over a letter from Heinrich just before he goes to bed because like that's another clue.
You reread the letter from your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So you do all that. Next morning you get up. You have your breakfast, and you head to the hospital. When you get there, it's early enough. It's like how early do you want to get there?
Quite early.
Quite early,
know
but
what
not like
time.
suspiciously early. We don't want to be like waiting
Normal
at
time.
the doors
What
before the
time will
hospital
people
opens.
usually arrive? Yeah.
Like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that we said before, just before the workers come in? So
Well, maybe let's reconsider if we're trying to be nondescript. Then let's be there like kind of normal time when it's not weird to visit a hospital.
So like say 7:30, 9.
Yeah, around that time.
Okay, cool.
we could just go for a walk and walk past it and let him slip in. You know what I mean? Whatever you want.
Yeah, but I just have an idea of what time you're doing that at.
Not suspicious time. Like I think around 9 a.m. is fine.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So as I said, you get up, you have your breakfast, all the rest of that, and you head in the direction of the hospital, planning to try and get up there and maybe crack open a door or a window so that Anklegon can slip in. And as you get up towards the hospital, you see there is a sign hanging outside the front of the door.
Okay.
What does it say?
Getting up close, you see on the sign it says hospital closed to all visitors due to pox.
Oh, should have stayed behind.
That is a perfect place to pause in our story.
No.
I fucking knew we were snooping around.
So, thank you all for joining us. I hope you all had fun tonight. We certainly did. It appears that my players are always paranoid, but maybe there is actually something going on here.
Why are we always paranoid?
All
Everybody
players.
and the NPC in the last campaign has
I do
been
not know what you're talking about. That's a
screwing with
spurious
us.
accusation. So thank you for joining us tonight. Another Kickstarter I would briefly like to talk about as well. This is another one that I've personally backed, which looks really exciting. It's called Faithful, a Scottish fairy short film. A simple story about a girl and her best friend who happens to be the harbinger of death. So a story about a young girl in Scotland who has befriended a Cusith, a fairy hound. It does need our support. It's getting a lot of support from Scottish Film and other areas, but we'd really love to see it get over the line. It's still like about 25 days left, but if you could support it, the link is in the Kickstarter. Faithful, a Scottish fairy tale. So that's our two Kickstarters we're talking about tonight. Abaddon, okay, the 13 Seals, and Faithful, a Scottish fairy tale. The links are in the chat. I'm constantly retweeting and sharing these links on my socials, on Twitter, fuck you Muskie, it's called Twitter, and on Blue Sky. If you have an invite code, you can find it with a search on Kickstarter. They're two really great projects, and it would be great if you get their support. As for us, you can find all of our stuff at fey-earth.itch.io. We got a bunch of really great stuff. The Explorer's Guide to Fae. This is an early release core rulebook. It's a pretty, like, it's the early release. It's still like nearly 200 pages, okay? Everything you need to play up to 10th level comfortably. All of the mechanics of the game, spells up to 3rd level, class descriptions up to 10th level, a ton, I think stat blocks for like 25, 30 different Fae creatures. Literally everything you need. We've got a couple of one-shots as well. The Beast of Caruth, a very, very, very fun game involving Fae cryptids in the Bavarian Alps, and Stolen Treasures involving fairies and stolen children in Wales. There is Trouble in the North, our starter adventure, a really fun adventure for a party of players from levels 1 to 5. All of these adventures come with quick play guides and pre-generated characters, so you don't even need to have read the Explorer's Guide. And yeah, beyond that, be sure to be checking us out. If you have the time, check out our Patreon, where you get our fun behind the scenes interviews with our players. And beyond that, keep an eye out. Hopefully in the next week or two, the pre-sign up page for the Fae Earth Kickstarter 2.0 will be going live. Hoping to launch that next March, so we can raise the funds to publish our game and get it out in the world. But until then, see you all next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Good night all. Bye.